Hello and welcome. My name is Hannah, and today we're going to be doing a little bit of an exercise just to kind of get creative in a very loose and fun way. So I took out watercolors. We're going to start off being a little bit rowdy and just kind of smacking the paint onto our sketchbook so that we can't control it, But I know that this is going to turn out to be kind of messy, and I really like that, and I'm excited by that. But I still want there to be some kind of order to this, so I only chose 3 colors, the 3 brightest colors that came in this pack that I just bought. These are new watercolors for me, by the way, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. But for now, I'm just creating 4 shapes with these splatters. I'm just kind of, loosely going around, trying not to control it too much, but I'm also trying not to mix the colors so it doesn't get brown and muddy. But once I get these 4 shapes down, then I'm gonna go in with colored pencils and see what we can make out of them. It's gonna create some really interesting things that maybe I wouldn't have come up with on my own. It's really like the water, kind of like reading tea leaves, I guess. We're just turning into oracles today. By the way, I'm going to be using Polychromos pencils today because they've been really sad and crying because I've been neglecting them, and my motherly instincts have kicked in and I need to, mother them. But this one, this is the one that I was the least excited about because I couldn't see it in my head, and neither can you because it's blurry, unfortunately. It doesn't last forever, I promise, but the reason why I wasn't in love with this one was because 2 reasons. I couldn't see anything very clearly from the get-go. I could very minimally see a mask, and also I was testing out how I wanted to go about using watercolor on top of this. So the mask one was kind of like my trial one, so I mean, it's not a big deal. It's all for fun anyway, so I can't get too in my head about it. But what I did learn from the mask one was that I don't like the second layer of watercolor to be so concentrated. So I went into this next one, first of all, really excited because this one was very clearly, can you guess what I'm gonna say? I mean, I've already started, so of course. This is Luigi. Can't you see it? With the big nose on the left and the, weird hat. I mean, it's a version of him, maybe in an alternate universe, but I turned him into Luigi, and I decided to use colored pencil more than the watercolor at first, just to establish some very soft lines in case, I don't know, just it's easier to build up from little instead of going straight hard into the hard stuff. Does that, we need some kind of a gateway. A gateway art supply, and that is colored pencil. So, geez. Sometimes I wonder, would it be better to just watch my videos on mute? I mean, that might be beneficial. By the way, this one that I'm doing, I mean, we know that the mask one is I hate it. It's the worst, but I am using it kind of as like a trial to see how the art supplies are gonna work on this paper. This is a watercolor paper. I think it's actually advertised as a mixed media, but I know that a lot of watercolorists are really excited about this sketchbook. This is a Lucetti sketchbook, and I've talked about it before, so I'm not going to get into that today, but I didn't know how colored pencil was going to behave on this, and it turns out that colored pencil was really, really like almost too textured on this for my taste. I actually think that there are some really professional color pencil artists who do prefer watercolor paper for their work. I think they use like the cushiness of the paper to really push the colored pencil into it. So like that's something to maybe explore a little bit in the future. I'm just kind of thinking out loud at this point. But for now, the way that I use colored pencil right now, I don't prefer watercolor texture paper for my colored pencil stuff that I do. I prefer a much smoother paper for, my solely colored pencil stuff. But this is like a mix between watercolor and colored pencil. So how do you make it work between the two? And I think that's ultimately why I'm doing this at all, is to just kind of figure out how I want to mix the two for myself. And I'm learning that I really like it when the watercolor takes the majority of the load, and then colored pencil is very minimal. Okay, so moving on to this next one, what I didn't show you is that I stared at this one for about an hour. So what I could see was some kind of an alien robot that was falling back in battle with like a gun hand. I struggled because all I could see were, how do I say this? I wanted this to be appropriate without there being any bodily, jeez. I didn't want there to be any private parts on this, so I had to instead rip a leg out, and that was gory blood. So I mean, which is worse? Who really knows? This guy is an alien robot, and all of his limbs look different. Because maybe he was created by AI in his world, who knows? But this one I actually kind of did have a little bit of fun because it was so different from what I usually draw. And that's kind of like the silver lining in doing this exercise is kind of getting yourself out of your own comfort zone and trying something new or different. But yeah, this one was really fun, but I did struggle a little bit with knowing. Okay, so I did the watercolor underneath on purpose because watercolor in and of itself has a life to it, and I wanted the life to show through, you know? I didn't want to cover it up all the way with colored pencil. So where's the line between letting it be watercolor and turning it into something else and like forcing the lines, you know? But I'm just gonna do some finishing touches on some of these to try to, I don't know, finish them. And then they're done. These two are my favorites. These two are not. This one's this one sucks, but that's okay. It was all just for fun, and I honestly learned a lot, and you know, are there any failures when you're learning? Not really, so it's not that big of a deal. So I let this sit for a few days before I continue on to this next thing because I didn't like the paint tray that I was using, and I was waiting for a new ceramic one, the one that I show you and up there. I was waiting for that to come in the mail, and also just the fact that I was going to be done with the video after those 4, but I just could not stop craving the, you know, what it would look like if I did my own thing in my own way. So I start drawing a creature, and I know what the head's going to look like, not so sure about the body, and I end up switching it a few times, and this one is something special. Yeah, I'm glad I erased that one, but yeah, this one goes through several variations before I land on one that I'm actually pleased with. And like looking back, all the variations that I erased, I could have moved forward with, except for that one, right? But they were all looking a little bit too much like something that already exists. So I wanted to change it up enough where it looks like something new and something that is my own. I should probably mention, these are new watercolors to me. This is my first set of tubes that I've tried, and after today, I really like them. And these are, let me tell you what they are. These are the Magello Mission Gold watercolors. And when I was researching what to buy that wasn't gonna totally break my budget and had some really exciting colors, I had to just buy it. So I had actually started to pay attention a lot to what my favorite colors were that I use all the time with colored pencils, and I just made sure to buy a set that had like my 12 most used colors. And yeah, so for these ones today, I used mainly the 3 ones, but then I also kind of branched out and started to use a little bit more so that I could, you know, start incorporating some shadows. I am obsessed with shadows, creatures and shadows. I mean, put those two together and I am in like my bliss state. So these colors are for the shadows of this creature, and I'm also kind of thinking about how I want to do a background, and I am so excited to do a background for him. And as soon as I put the shadows on him, his story, you guys know, my creatures always have a story. I can't help it. So I hope you don't mind that I always share the stories with you, even though they're so bonkers and probably dark. They're always dark. So this guy is just the way that he looks very timid, And the way that he's wearing his mask, he also is protecting himself, right? He doesn't want anybody to know his real emotions because he's been hurt one too many times, and he knows that that's what is really going to get you hurt, is when people know your real emotions. Not that he's shy, but he's very protective of what he shares with people. Now, he is walking in one direction, and the way that the shadows are, he's walking towards the light, right? But he's looking backwards into the shadows. Now, we've already established that he protects his own emotions, but that's not to say that he doesn't protect other people's emotions or creatures. Jeez. So I think that this is a creature who finally got free of the life that was hurting him so much, but since he is a protector of other creatures, he can't forget about them. So he's looking back and he's trying to decide, should I go back to them to help protect them, or I have my shot. This might be my one chance to escape. Should I take it, or should I stay? Oh, I'm getting the shivers. Oh, this is a good one. I really, really like this guy. And I gotta say, I'm like bouncing on my seat right now as I'm doing this voiceover. I'm gonna take a second and take a breather real quick. All right, so now that I've calmed down a little bit, let's talk some more about the background. So I wanted there to be flowers, but like kind of simple flowers, because first of all, I don't really love drawing flowers, but I wanted there to be some kind of mystical element that made it so that the path that he's on is a hopeful one. So what's more hopeful than seeing some bright glowing flowers on the path, right? So that really helped tell the story that, okay, he's on a hopeful path. He's going in the right direction, but he's looking back into the shadows. So I knew that the back had to be dark and the front had to be light, because, you know, that's what we already established, right? So once I had those two kind of guidelines, then it became kind of easier for me to know how to color this up. I didn't want it to be very colorful the way that he is. I wanted it to be very dull and gray and a little bit of colors, but not too many colors. So very dull blue and a very dull purple for, you know, what you can see. I also really like it when the background looks like there's hidden shapes in there that could be something else, but it's not intrinsically like in your face an object. Does that make sense? Yeah, I like it when it's kind of suggested that there's things back there, but it's not like, it's up to the viewer to decide what the object is going to be, or if there's even going to be an object, you know? But when I do shadows, I love to add shadows, first of all. But when the shadow is complete, I like to go back in, and to every spot that's touching the ground, I will go in a little bit darker, and I feel like that really puts the object into place and really makes it feel like they're actually standing in their own little world. I think that's really, really exciting. It's been so much fun to think about what this guy's life is, and looking back at how today started, I wouldn't have made this guy without first making the four little weirdos on the right. And I think that's really cool and kind of poetic in its own way. So this is how this whole spread turned out, and I had so much fun. I hope you did too. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Toodaloo.